Hello, boys and girls. Greg from the Scary Spirits podcast here once again to make you another cocktail. Today I am making the Scarecrow Cocktail, which is the featured cocktail in today's episode. Right, we're going to take our shaker with ice. To that, vanilla vodka, 1 ounce. 1 ounce vanilla vodka. Or more, you do you. There we go, 1 ounce. Next we have creme de cacao or creme de cocoa. I have creme de cocoa. It's a little sweeter. Same diff. So 3/4 of an ounce. And we have butterscotch schnapps. 3/4 of an ounce butterscotch schnapps as well. Next, we're going to shake. All right. Next, we're going to take our Martini glass, which we have rimmed with cocoa. Ooh, fancy cocoa powder. We're going to strain the cocktail in there. Then we top it off with orange juice. Here we go. And finally, a piece of candy corn. We garnish with candy corn on a stick. Wow. That's delicious. Oh yeah, I dig that. There you go. The Scarecrow Cocktail. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the podcast. See ya.
Jumping to conclusions without all the facts can lead to trouble. Big trouble. But even if you've jumped to a conclusion here and there, you've probably never taken quite a leap like the trigger-happy men in this week's episode of the Scary Spirits podcast, The Dark Night of the Scarecrow. At least I hope not. After one big-ass oops by these good old boys, karma comes to town. You can imagine what happens next. Or you can listen and learn. Cheers.
Welcome to the Scary Spirits podcast. Please be advised that the presenters may use adult language and/or discuss adult situations. This podcast is not intended for younger listeners or those that may be easily offended. So, if you're ready, let's go.
Hi, I'm Greg,
Hey, I'm Karen.
and welcome to the Scary Spirits podcast, the podcast that combines the two very different but highly compatible worlds of scary films and alcoholic spirits.
What could possibly go wrong?
Indeed. How are you, Karen?
I'm doing great. How are you, Greg?
I'm good, Karen. Thanks for asking.
It's what we do.
I believe this film was my choice, was it? Was it not, Karen?
It's all you.
It is all me. So this week, because of course we have no corrections. Of course we do, but I can't think
We
of
don't
them at the
admit to them.
moment.
We just don't admit to any. We just go on
here's
like we were delightful.
Here's something I will say. In the YouTube video for Murders in the Rue Morgue, what was that, 2 weeks ago?
The Bloody Monkey Cocktail.
Yes. I kept calling it the monkey blood cocktail in the YouTube video. So
Oh my God.
I'm terribly sorry. So
That's disgraceful.
I'm sorry. Can you ever forgive me, Karen?
It's not me, it's the listener. Or the watcher and the
Yes,
viewer. The watcher.
And it's got it's doing pretty
views.
well. Sorry, viewers, YouTube viewers, that I called the cocktail the wrong name twice, I believe, in the video.
Well, maybe if
I
someone
kept calling it
corrects
the
you-
monkey blood. I thought it was monkey blood, not bloody monkey.
Well, the first person that corrects you can get a free sticker on the YouTube channel. So go to our YouTube channel, go to episode number, what is that, 54? Murders in the Rue Morgue.
Yes, Karen, episode 54.
I'm on fire. First I knew it was the Bloody Monkey. Now I know it's episode number 54. Write in the comments that he is 100% wrong on the name, and I will personally send you a Scary Spirits sticker.
100% wrong on the name.
No, it's not 100% wrong.
That's all
It's
we have
just-
to type, Karen? Or just the first person who corrects me?
Yes, just the first person who corrects you. Doesn't
Okay.
have to be in my words.
Okay. So the first person who corrects the name in the comments on the YouTube video of the drink, you will send them a sticker.
Yes, I will.
Okay. There you go, boys and girls.
Scary Spirits Podcast on YouTube. Episode 54.
54, Murders in the Rue Morgue. All right, Karen. So I believe this week's choice was mine. Was it? Was it not?
Yes, it was. It's all you.
Okay. So the film I've chosen this week is the 1981 made-for-TV movie, Dark Night of the Scarecrow.
Okay. I do have a question right off the bat.
Do you?
Well, was it made to be a TV movie or was it supposed to be a film and then?
No, it was a made-for-TV movie.
Okay. So that was the plan all along.
CBS television, Karen.
Okay.
1981, Karen. You remember 1981?
I do.
Do you remember October of 1981? Because that's when this came out.
Not specifically, no. All I know is probably a good year.
You think you're probably getting your Halloween costume ready?
I don't know. That's probably working.
You didn't wear a Halloween costume at work, Karen?
Probably not.
Okay.
Or maybe I did.
Yeah, so this movie came out on CBS TV in October of 1981.
Did you see it then?
I don't think I did.
I've never seen it. So.
I'd never seen it either. Watching it, I was like, no, I've never seen this. But something about scarecrow imagery sticks with me.
They are creepy. There's no question. It's creepy upon creepy.
And this one is a good one.
Yeah.
So I'm sure I saw the previews, commercials, whatever, the ad and TV guide, or the TV thing and the Cincinnati Enquirer, Karen. You know what I'm talking about.
Yes, sure. The TV guide, I know, but we didn't get that. Did you get that?
TV guide?
Yeah.
Hell no.
No, that was pricey.
Yeah, my grandparents did that, so I might have seen it in theirs. Because I like looking through their TV guide when we would go there every Sunday.
That's exciting stuff. Ooh, the new TV guide.
So yeah, something about the scarecrow stuff always stuck with me. So
that's
kind of why I
chose
picked it. Yeah.
And also a good one for Halloween.
And also the direct-to-video Dark Night of the Scarecrow 2 was just released when this episode goes live.
Okay. Are you going to watch it?
No, I'm not going to watch it. I don't need to watch it. I've already seen this one.
But it's probably completely different.
Oh, not from what I've read. That's part of the reason why I picked it too.
Okay.
I don't think it needs to be redone. Do you think it needs to be redone?
Or
Oh,
should
I
we
thought
get
it was a
into it
sequel.
later? No, well, it is, but it's really a reimagining from what I've read.
Oh, God, yes. It's a reimagining. I forgot that from last week. Okay.
Yes, remember? Remember,
Yes,
Karen?
now I remember.
I'll ask you later.
Okay, I'll answer later.
I do have a cocktail, Karen.
And what might that be?
That is the Scarecrow Cocktail
Yeah, this is a good one.
I found on Secret of the Booze. It's really a themed cocktail for the Batman villain Scarecrow, but yeah, Scarecrow's a scarecrow, right?
When it comes to a good drink, we're not going to be picky.
It's delicious.
It really is.
Would you like to know how to make it, Karen?
Of course.
Right. So we're going to need 1 ounce of vanilla vodka, 3/4 ounce creme de cacao or cocoa, if you want the sweet stuff, which I did.
Oh, that's why mine's not as sweet.
Use cacao or
Mhm.
cocoa.
No,
Okay.
cacao.
3/4 ounce butterscotch schnapps. That's hard to say, Karen.
But you handled it like a pro.
The recipe calls for a splash of orange juice, but really you're filling the glass with orange juice. So it's a little more than a splash, I would say. 1 piece of candy corn, Karen,
Yes.
and cocoa powder.
Full disclosure, I only had Carnation instant breakfast drink. So that's what I
have Swiss
that's what I
Miss.
used.
Swiss Miss
Oh.
hot chocolate mix.
Yeah, they say to use a hot chocolate mix. And I thought we had some, but I did find, and it's good with the
delicious.
breakfast drink because it's chocolate. I can see why there is a difference. Mine's, I told Greg before we started, it's a little bitter, but that's the cacao versus the cocoa. That's why. But if it's still good, no matter which one you use, but I bet yours is better.
Probably. So the first thing we're going to do, Karen, is we're going to rim the glass with cocoa powder, hot chocolate mix, whatever. And I used simple syrup to.
Oh, I just used water.
No, I put it in simple syrup, then I put it in the cocoa mix.
Yeah, I just used water.
Then we're going to mix all the liquors in a shaker. So you put your vodka, your creme de cacao, and your butterscotch schnapps.
Did you put ice in it?
Yeah, shaker with ice.
Oh, does it say? Okay.
It doesn't say that, but in the YouTube video, that's how they make it.
Okay, because I used ice.
Yep.
I wanted it to be cold.
Yes. Then you shake it, and then you strain it into a martini glass. The martini glass that you have already topped with cocoa powder or whatever. This one's going to be gone quick, Karen. Then you top the glass off with orange juice. Right? So fill the glass up to, with orange juice. Then you serve with a candy corn on a stick.
And where do you find candy corn this time of year, Greg?
Well, if you have an awesome friend, they will send you some.
Yes, they will.
That they find on Amazon, Karen. So that's where I found mine.
Yes, and Greg sent me candy corn, which was very nice. And actually, I like candy corn. So I
do too, Karen.
If you hear this during the podcast, I'm eating it. Because it calls for 1 candy corn.
Yeah.
So we have extra in the bag.
Yes. The cheapest one I could find included 3 3-ounce bags. So we have a lot of candy corn. Well, I've already eaten a bag of mine.
I did too. While I watched the movie, actually.
And that's how you make the cocktail, Karen.
All right, let's give the people some time.
Yep. Go make your cocktail. If you get lost, go to the YouTube channel Secret of the Booze. Hold on. And we're back.
Yes, we are.
All right, Karen, might you have a brief synopsis of this made-for-TV film from 1981?
I do.
Please, Karen, tell me a story.
Dark Night of the Scarecrow. Strange occurrences plague a group of vigilantes who took vengeance on a man wrongfully accused of harming a youngster.
Thank you, Karen, for that brief synopsis.
It's a good one, though.
It is.
Doesn't give a lot away, but gives you the plot.
Works for me.
Just enough to entice you in.
All right, Karen, are you ready to get into the film?
Let's go.
Dark Night of the Scarecrow from 1981.
You should probably say where you watched it.
Karen, I watched it on Amazon Prime.
You did?
I did.
I watched it on YouTube.
Did you? Was it free? Well, of course it was.
Yes.
I paid like $1 or something. It wasn't expensive. It wasn't terrible.
All right. Well, that's good to know that we watched it in different places. So we'll see if there's any differences.
And the one I watched had been restored from the original version.
Oh.
It was like a special collector's edition version.
Ooh.
I can't compare it to the YouTube video though. But it was CBS on CBS. And it was released October 24th, 1981.
Okay, that's a good time to do it.
Yes, week before Halloween. All right. First thing I saw on Amazon Prime was rated 18 plus, Karen.
Really?
That's what it said.
It was on TV.
18 plus.
Probably at 8:00 at night.
Yeah, or 9. 8 or 9, probably. Then we have credits, and there's the windmill. We see while the credits roll.
Yeah. I looked it up. I didn't know what those windmills do. So I wanted to know. You're a farm boy. Do you know what they do?
I know what windmills do.
Those kind of windmills that farmers have on the property. You see them all the time.
They either grind grain.
That's what I thought. They're mechanical windmills, and they're used to lift water up out of the ground.
That was my next thing, was water.
Yeah, for the livestock. But you see them everywhere, and they're always all broken down and rusty looking and creepy.
Do you really care?
Well, you used to when you drive around, and they're in the fields. So that's what they do. I
spent a lot of time on a farm, Karen, and there were no windmills except for like a yard ornament that my grandfather made.
Well, I've seen a lot of them driving around in the country.
Okay.
Does your grandpa? Yeah, he had livestock, right?
He did.
Yeah. Okay.
Horses,
but that's what they're for.
Hogs and cattle. Yep. And we see who we learn is Bubba and Mary Lee sitting in the field singing a song
about flowers.
Yeah, and we learn pretty quickly that Bubba is special.
Yep.
They're picking daisies. And Mary Lee is making daisy lays, Karen.
Yes, she is. Daisy chains, really, but
necklaces, lays.
Yes, but most people will know them as daisy chains, but she calls it a lay. Yes.
Yeah, that's important because Mary Lee wants to kiss Bubba when she gives him his, because that's the custom, right?
Yes.
When you go to Hawaii, oh my God, every time we get off a plane in Hawaii, there's someone there to put a lei around your neck and kiss you on the cheek. Everywhere, every island you go on.
Did you hate it?
It was terrible, Karen. But Bubba's shy, and he ain't into all that. But eventually he does relent and lets Mary Lee kiss him on the cheek. All very innocent, I would say, correct?
Yes. What's not so innocent is what's next.
Mailman Otis.
Yes.
Watching Mary Lee and Bubba through binoculars.
And menacing music plays.
He doesn't seem too happy.
No, he doesn't.
All right. Next, we cut to a wood chipper, Karen.
Did you write foreshadowing?
That's why I wrote wood chipper. I'm sure it comes into play later. And Otis is telling who we learn is Harless. The Bubba's down there in the fields with Mary Lee again. And Otis compares Bubba to weeds that are hard to kill.
I wrote right here, whatever it is, whatever happens, it's the mailman. Because you can just tell he plays this part very well.
He does.
Yeah, that he's a dick. There's no way around it.
Charles Durning plays Otis. And he's a very famous character actor.
Yes, he is.
But he compares Bubba to like Hen Bit, Chickweed, and Creepin' Charlie. I don't know. I'm just coming up with weeds that are hard to get rid of, Karen. But Otis wants to do something permanent to keep Bubba away. And Harless says, whoa, wait a minute. I'll kick him around a bit, but that's about it.
Yeah, he'd need a real reason to hurt him.
Yeah, I just want to kick him around a bit. And I recognized Harless from somewhere. Maybe we'll talk about it later.
Yeah, there's a lot of character actors in this. Bubba, he played a character on LA Law for a long time too.
He won 2 Emmys for that character.
Yeah, so there's a lot of well-known actors in this movie.
Next, Bubba and Mary Lee are walking back home, I guess, and Mary Lee sneaks into the backyard of a house through a hole in a fence
because they see a fountain.
Yeah, it's
and
got
she wants
water
a closer
fountains and gnomes.
No, it looks magical to her, I think. So she wants a closer
magical.
Look. Yes. Well, it's got
it's
gnomes.
Magical.
And do you have any gnomes in your yard?
No, Karen, do you?
No. Just wondered.
I have skulls.
So do I. I have a gargoyle. Not quite the same.
But there's a water fountain and gnomes, and Mary Lee goes into there, and Bubba won't go because he's too scared. He doesn't want to get in trouble.
Well, he knows he's not allowed. He tells her he's not allowed to go in people's yards.
He is not. But then there's a dog, Karen. You're a dog snarling and growling.
It's a big dog too.
Did you make
big black dog?
What kind of dog it was?
I think it was a mix. It wasn't a purebred dog.
I don't think it was either. A dog attacks Mary Lee, and Bubba breaks through the fence to try to save her. And then we cut. Next thing we see is Bubba bringing Mary Lee to her mother. And Mary Lee don't look so good, Karen.
No, he's carrying her.
She's
in
pretty
his
limp.
arms. Yeah.
She looked like she was gone. But the first thing he says is, Bubba didn't do it.
He does talk of himself in the third person.
Yes.
The mom screams. So we
as
think
you do.
Well, at this point, yes, he's holding her, the limp girl, and we don't know because I wrote, is she dead? Because they cut from that point to Otis. Because the way the mom screams, it kind of felt like maybe she didn't make it.
And we see Harless going to the post office. He's going to tell Otis what happened. And they think that Bubba has killed Mary Lee.
Yeah, they say she's dead.
Yeah, or Harless says it finally happened. She's gone. Otis grabs his gun.
He closes up shop right away.
Yeah, the post office.
He's the only post office. He's in the office and drives the truck and never, ever changes out of his uniform.
That's correct. Every time we see him, he is in his letter carrier uniform. Then they go to the gas station to get some dogs and some more guns, Karen. Along their way, they stop and get Philby from Philby's Grain Works or whatever it is. He has a farm that he sells, I guess, feed, grain.
Yeah, it's
feed.
the feed and seed store, basically. But I think it's Harless. One of them says the sheriff is assembling volunteers, but Otis says, no, we do this ourselves. He wants the gory violence to be from him. He's been waiting a long time to do this, apparently.
So next we see Bubba running through the woods. The men arrive and begin hunting Bubba. And Bubba makes it home. And he tells his mama that he didn't do anything. And she tells him that they're going to play the hiding game. Apparently they've done this before, Karen.
Okay, so just one other thing. The guy from the feed and seed store,
Philby.
he's a big heavy set dude.
Yes, he is.
And when he's running, he kind of drops to his knees and takes his heart medicine.
Takes his nitroglycerin pills.
Yeah. So he's that's sort of plays into things later. He's a heavy set dude. Bubba gets home. His mom's they have a system for losing people who are trying to find him. And the men arrive with the dogs. So before we go any further, I was just wondering a little bit. I couldn't tell what breed of dogs they were, but they're scent hounds. So I kind of looked up a little bit about scent hounds because I was curious. They hunt by following a smell or scent, obviously. They have extremely sensitive noses, and they can follow a scent over long distances, even across water, which I didn't know. I thought if you went across the creek, you could lose the scent, but they can.
They can pick you up.
Yes. So they don't have to keep their subject in sight. Their strength, it says that it lies in endurance, not speed. So they don't have to see it like a sight hound. They can follow it until it just wears out and drops, basically. Do you want to guess which dogs are the top 3 scent hounds?
Bloodhound.
Yes, that's usually number 1. So the lists that I saw, these 3 change number, but they're always in the top 3. Bloodhound is usually number 1, and the other 2 switch back and forth of 2 and 3.
The other 2. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of think all dogs would be capable.
They're not really, though. So there's the bloodhound, like you said, and then the beagle, which a lot of people, and basset hound.
That's what I was going to say. That's exactly the 2 I was going to say, but I thought they were too small and their legs were too small. They're like,
no, it's interesting. So like basset's hounds, they have those long ears.
Yes, I had a basset hound, Karen.
And the ears,
Karen,
bring
would you like to know what his name was?
Absolutely.
Beauregard.
Of course. Well, do you know how many smell receptors Beauregard had in his nose?
Fucking shit ton.
You're right. That's exactly right. Or if you'd like to know the number associated with that measurement,
yes,
it's 220 million.
So that's a metric
receptors.
Shit ton.
Yes.
Okay. 220
But their
million.
ears kind of move the scent up to their nose, which I thought was kind of cool. But these dogs don't look like those kind of dogs to me. So I don't know. I don't know how they knew what they were smelling for. Did they give him something? Did they keep something of Bubba's? How do they even know?
They had to have. I mean, for that to work, for it to
Right.
work, that's what they had to do. Right. But next to the men arrive at Bubba's house and they confront Bubba's mother. Otis says, "This is official business."
And she tells them to get off her lawn.
Yeah.
Basically.
She says the only official thing he's done is lick stamps.
Yeah. She's good. I liked her.
I like her too. And I wrote
she knows he has no authority.
Yeah.
She knows it.
But Otis seems to think he's the law, I wrote.
Yeah, the postman.
Yeah, but mom tells them to get off her property. They're trespassing.
And she says Bubba wouldn't hurt a child.
No, wouldn't hurt anybody. But the dogs do pick up the scent. And the dogs lead them to a scarecrow in a field, Karen.
Which is a pretty good hiding place.
But Otis goes up to the scarecrow and he sees Bubba's eyes behind the burlap mask. Then they all shoot Bubba full of holes.
Multiple times they shoot him.
Like 21.
All 4 of them.
Yes.
Unload their weapons.
And we hear crows cawing.
And his last words were, Bubba didn't do it.
Bubba didn't do it. That's right.
They shot the scarecrow from the back.
Uh-huh.
No bullet holes in the back.
No, yeah, that's true. There wasn't. But once they unload all their weapons, they get a call on the CB telling them that Mary Lee is okay and that the sheriff called off the search for Bubba and that turns out she was attacked by a dog and Bubba saved her life.
Oops.
Wow, wow.
That's not good. That is not good news.
And Otis grabs a pitchfork and wraps Bubba's arm around it.
Which I didn't get
I didn't get either at the time. And the wind blows.
What is he? What's he? Yeah, the wind definitely starts to pick up. But I'm like, what is he doing? I didn't know why he did that, but we find out almost immediately.
Almost immediately. Next scene, Karen, we're in a courtroom. And the men are being, I guess it's a preliminary hearing. Something like that. To see if they should stand trial for murder or not.
I guess.
The defense attorney for the men says that the pitchfork was a weapon and that Bubba was armed and the men were just defending themselves.
the DA says
Sam.
that Bubba was helpless. And then the other attorney says, that's a lie. And he throws they have the pitchfork and they throw the actual pitchfork down in court. Very dramatic.
Yes. And the judge asks Otis while he's on the witness stand.
Still in his mailman uniform.
He is.
You'd think you'd dress up for court, but no.
The judge asks Otis while he's on the witness stand if they gave Bubba a chance to surrender.
Yeah, the judge is leading Otis. He's giving him an out by saying that.
Otis lies.
And he says they did multiple times, in fact, and they were just defending themselves.
Yes, they even shot up in the air to warn him.
Yeah.
So the judge calls the lawyers to the stand and
he calls them up to the bench.
yes, he tells DA Sam, right, District Attorney Sam, that he has produced no evidence unless he has something else to bring in the court, that there's no probable cause to hold the men over for trial.
And no witnesses.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Bubba's mom is not happy.
Well, of course not.
So basically the judge lets the guys go. There's no evidence to hold them over for trial. But lawyer Sam does warn them that if he ever finds one shred of evidence, he will see them all on death row.
Yeah, they'd have to drag Bubba's mom out because she's calling them murderers. And then when they leave,
she does say there's more than one way of justice.
There's more.
Too.
Yes, there's more. Yes, she does. But everyone's clapping and congratulating them after they get off.
Well, yeah, he's the mailman. He brings them the mail every day.
And while Sam is telling him he's going to look for evidence, Otis is looking at his watch because it's fried chicken night at the boarding house that he lives.
Where he lives.
Yeah.
Next, we see the men at a cafe drinking for a hot second, and the wind is howling.
Yes.
Then we cut to Mary Lee sleeping, and we learn that Mom couldn't tell Mary Lee what happened to Bubba, and Mom and Dad decide not to tell her the truth, ever. But Mary Lee's window is open, Karen, and the wind is blowing. She wakes to hear a dog barking, and she says, "Bubba?" She puts on her slippers and housecoat and goes outside.
She climbs out the window. It's not like she walks past her parents out the front door.
Right.
She does go out the window.
Did you ever do that, Karen? Put on your slippers and housecoat and go out the window?
No, but I've gone out the window many times.
Not in your slippers and housecoat, though?
No.
Okay.
I still don't have a slippers and housecoat.
Well, she goes to Bubba's house.
Wait, have you in your slippers and housecoat gone out the window?
No, not out the window.
Oh, you go out the front door in your slippers and
or
housecoat?
the back door, whatever. Yeah.
Your slippers and housecoat's probably not as nice as hers.
Probably not. I don't know. My slippers are pretty nice. So next we see Mary Lee goes to Bubba's house and she knocks on his bedroom window because his lights are on for some reason. But there's no answer. So she just walks right into the fucking house.
Well, it shows how comfortable she is. She's obviously been there many, many times.
And she finds the flower necklace or lei she made for him, Karen, in the living room.
And there's a fire in the fireplace.
Yes. She hears a door close upstairs. She goes to investigate. Who could that be upstairs? Duh.
Well, she doesn't know that he's not there.
It's Bubba's mom.
Nobody's told her.
Yeah, Mom tells her she should be home in bed. But Mary Lee asks where Bubba is. And Mom tells Mary Lee that Bubba's gone and that he is never coming back.
She's very motherly to Mary Lee. She takes her by the fire to warm her up. And she's very concerned that she's out in the middle of the night.
Yeah, and she does get that no one has told her what has happened.
Yes.
So she doesn't really tell her either, just that Bubba's gone away, right? But Mary Lee says she knows all of the hiding places and she will help her find him. And she runs out to where the Scarecrow was and sings a creepy song, Karen.
It's the flower song again.
Yeah. And she says that Bubba is playing the hiding game.
Next, we see Otis delivering the mail.
Yeah, the men are
It's
all back at
it's a
their
little
jobs.
montage.
Yes.
It's a man at work montage. Right?
Yes. Except they do show the grain silo, and I wrote foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Otis
But
delivering the
yes.
mail, the feed mill, Skeeter working on a truck, Harless working on his wood chipper. Dun,
Yep.
dun, dun.
Mm-hmm. Our favorite, a montage.
But Harless's wife goes to get the mail and says they have an invitation to the church Halloween party.
Before that, Otis is delivering the mail, and he's looking at the people's mail. There's a boudoir magazine.
That he looks at the girly magazine.
Yeah, but he's the kind of guy that would probably read your mail before he put it in, just to see what's going on, so he knows everything.
Yeah. And then Harless and his wife notice a scarecrow in their field, even though he hasn't started planting.
She sees it, and she asks him if he started planting, and he's kind of talks down to her. When have you ever seen me planting at this time of year?
Yeah, it's the fall.
She's like, well, there's a scarecrow out there.
It's fall, right? It's October.
Yeah, well, there's going to be a Halloween party.
Right. It's October.
Harless keeps his cool and drives like a madman to the cafe because it's the same scarecrow outfit. It's not just a scarecrow. It's the one that Bubba hid in.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Well, yes, but...
Well, Harless goes to the cafe and he blames Philby and Skeeter for putting the scarecrow in his field.
Which makes sense.
Of course, they swear they didn't do it. And they're all starting to freak the fuck out a little bit. But they all go to see Otis at the boarding house.
Otis has a few weapons in his room. Did you notice that?
Does.
Yeah.
He has a picture of Patton. Well, we'll get to it later, but I have lots to say about Otis. They tell Otis about the scarecrow. And they think someone knows what happened.
He's mad they're there.
Yeah. Otis figures it's Sam. Put the scarecrow there to shake them up to see what they do. And of course, they've done exactly what he expected them to do. Right?
Exactly. Yes. It would have been good if Sam had done it.
Yes.
He would have seen this happen. But they said the scarecrow had the bullet holes, the same exact scarecrow.
But it was just straw.
Filled with straw. Yes.
Otis tells them never to come over there again for anything ever.
And shut your mouth. Or shut your mouths.
Next, we see Harless. He's arriving home at night. He's driving home drinking bourbon or whiskey or something. Right,
he's got a bottle. Yeah.
It's whiskey. I don't want to presume that it's, Kentucky bourbon whiskey. Could be Tennessee whiskey, Karen. I don't know.
Could be.
But we hear a crow. Harless takes his flashlight and goes out in the field to where the scarecrow was.
At night.
But it gone.
Would you do that? I would not do that. I would go in the morning.
Would.
In the middle of the night.
I probably would, yeah.
No, not me.
I would do that. And Harless kicks the scarecrow frame over.
Yeah, that's all that's left. Yeah.
So he starts walking back to the house and he hears the wood chipper turn on in the barn, Karen. And he goes to investigate. Now, would I do that? I don't know. But he
not
does.
Alone. I wouldn't do it alone.
But he goes in there and he turns off the wood chipper. It's the first thing he does, which is important, I think.
Well, you wouldn't leave it on.
No, and he thinks it's Sam messing with him.
Yeah, and he yells, Sam, quit playing games.
Yeah, and apparently there's something in the hayloft because hay keeps falling down. You ever play in a hayloft, Karen?
No.
I did all the time. And I did write, there's some nice uplighting as Harless reaches the hayloft because he climbs like the wooden ladder that's in the barn, as all barns have. And he reaches the top and he peeks his head up. Sam! Sam! And there's some nice uplighting on his face.
Kind of like when you hold a flashlight under your chin.
It looks good.
To tell scary stories.
But there's a wooden box in the hayloft.
So do you think that's new? Or do you think that's been there?
It's been there.
Okay.
I think it's been there. But Harless grabs a hook that, you use to like grab hay, bales of hay and throw them.
Yes.
Yeah. And he walks towards the box and the wood chipper turns on, Karen. And Harless is startled. He falls in and he gone.
Well, first he gets to hold on to a
He
light
does.
for just a little bit to prolong the suspense, but then he falls.
Yeah, he gone. Next scene, ketchup on a plate.
It's preserves.
I think it's ketchup.
No, because she asks him. It's a big splat. She puts a
Yeah.
big old
I think
splat.
it's ketchup.
It's not. She
I
says,
think Otis is the kind of person who has ketchup with his eggs.
but it's for his biscuits. She asks him
Okay, whatever.
if he'd like some more preserves, and he takes more
All right, preserves.
because he's a glutton.
But he doesn't drink, Kane.
No.
All right, preserves. I'll give it to you. Look like ketchup. But Otis and the other members of the boarding house, or the other residents of the boarding house, are having breakfast. It looks like a damn good breakfast, too.
Oh my God, it's amazing. It has everything. Everything that passes by, he's getting. It's biscuits,
Yeah.
eggs,
Bacon.
pancakes, bacon. I mean, it just keeps coming, and he just keeps putting more on his plate.
Well, they call it flapjacks, but
Oh,
yeah.
whatever. If that's the kind of breakfast you
Yeah.
have every day there, that's impressive.
I get one of those breakfasts about once a month, Karen.
You get the buffet at Frisch's.
No.
Oh, you just make it yourself, or
Yeah. Well, my lovely wife does. Yes.
man, you're lucky.
And they talk about the sirens that happened in the morning, early morning hours. They tell Otis that Harless ground himself up. He gone. So next, Otis goes out to Harless's house, and we see Sam, District Attorney Sam. He's helping Harless's wife into the squad car.
But he eyes Otis.
Does,
But everybody's comforting the widow,
as you do.
as you should. Yes. Greg and I are both so excited that you're listening to the Scary Spirits podcast, and we would love to hear from you. Do you have a movie suggestion for us? Or possibly a favorite drink you'd like us to try? Or maybe you just want to say hi. If so, you can email us at info@scaryspirits.com. Thank you so much for your support. Now back to the show.
So next we see Otis and the other man at the post office again. Philby and Skeeter are starting to panic. I wrote, they think someone knows. Philby says the wood chipper machine was turned off when they found Harless.
Yeah, Otis says it was an accident.
Yeah. Otis says, well, it must have run out of gas. And Philby says, well, how do you know? So
Yeah, they want to know who turned the machine
yeah,
off.
who turned it off? So they all go out there to investigate, Karen.
At this point, I just wrote, what's with the stupid polka dot hat? He looks like Jughead or something. I don't get what is that. So he's dim or what? It's just silly.
It's important later.
Is it?
Yes,
All right. You'll have to tell me when.
I will. So they get to Harless's barn and they stick the handle of a hoe or a pitchfork or something down in there in the tank, and it is almost full of gas, Karen. So it didn't run out of gas.
Nope.
Next, we see Otis delivering the mail to Bubba's mom, but Mary Lee is there when he gets there, and she don't look too happy, Karen.
She gives him major stink eye.
Yep, she runs away, and Otis confronts Bubba's mom about Harless's death. And they go through this whole thing: an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, a hand for a hand, a life for a life. And Otis tells Bubba's mom that they're even, and for her to stand down. He thinks it's her.
Right. He says, let it lie. It's done. You're right.
Yep.
They're even.
But mom tells Otis she sees how he looks at Mary Lee. She knows exactly what he is.
That came out of nowhere.
I know, right?
That was, I rewound it because I thought, what? I mean, I realize when we first see him, he is using binoculars to watch her in the field. But I thought it was his hatred for Bubba that was the issue. But this came out of nowhere.
Maybe he's jealous.
Looking back, that could be what it is. But this was a surprise, this statement here. She says, stay away from her. Yeah. She knows. I just wrote, that's a twist. I was not expecting that. But it makes you hate him even more. As if he isn't hated enough at this point in the movie. They throw that in there just to be sure.
Yeah.
That no one's on his side.
And we have cut to Philby's farm, and the Scarecrow has arrived there as well.
The pigs go crazy in the pig pen. And
Yes, they
he
do.
goes out to see what's going on, and he sees the Scarecrow.
Yes. Pigs are nasty animals, Karen, in case you didn't know.
But they're supposed to be smart, though.
They're fucking delicious. I know that.
And good in a pinch if you need a blood transfusion.
They are nasty and vicious.
Okay.
They will eat their own in a second, a hot second. So you know, I've seen
that's
it.
why I'm All
right. Next, we cut to the Halloween party at the church, I believe. Isn't it the church Halloween party?
It is.
And Mary Lee and the other kids decide to play hide and seek. And of course, Mary Lee is it, and she's counting. But Otis confronts her as she's done counting. And he says, I'm not going to hurt you. Don't be afraid. I'm the mailman.
No one's afraid of the mailman.
I'm the Boy Scout leader. I'm the youth church group leader. Whatever. No one's afraid of the mailman. Merity says she knows what Otis did to Bubba. She says that Bubba told her everything.
Well, first, Otis is trying to get her to say that Bubba's mom is trying to play a joke on him and his friends.
Yes.
So he's trying to get Mary Lee to admit that it is Bubba's mom.
Right.
But Mary Lee just says what you said. Bubba told her everything.
Right. Otis says that Bubba is dead. Mary Lee says, I know. And then she runs away. And Otis chases her, but the law stops him, Karen.
Security busts him. Yep.
The law. Who we never see except for this one time.
I thought it was just security, but
no, it's a cop.
Okay, but he gives him side eye too, like maybe he knows.
He says, "Party's up front, Otis."
Yeah.
Where are you going, boy? So then Otis goes into the party and he asks,
they're square dancing.
Yes.
Did you ever to do that in school?
No, Karen, I did not.
We did.
And Otis asks for a glass of punch.
Wait, so basically you can't do-si-do.
No, I cannot.
Okay. Or do the wagon wheel.
No, can't do that either, Karen.
Okay.
Anything else you want to know before we carry on? I can do the bus stop, Karen.
Or the locomotion.
And the hustle. I can do that shit.
Now that I'd like to see.
So anyway, Otis asked for a glass of punch. And the lady there says, well, this one is regular and this one is spiked.
She called it fixed.
Fixed, yeah. But she says, but of course you don't drink. And she kind of gives him like a look and like, yeah, right, whatever. And gives him the unfixed glass of punch. Otis tastes it and he don't like it too much. So he dips his
swaps it out
into the fixed punch. And Skeeter, next thing I have is Skeeter and Philby tell Otis about the Scarecrow at Philby's place.
Mm-hmm.
Is this at the Halloween party they come? Do they come to the Halloween party?
I don't know. I guess they do because I don't have anything different than that.
So the next thing I have is they all go out to the field at Philby's place. But the Scarecrow was gone, Karen. Philby tells Otis that he better find a way to get him out of this mess or he's going to the sheriff. Kind of like, you got me into this, you better get me out or I'm going to the sheriff.
Yeah, because they say the prison is better than dying. Because
maybe.
Well, yeah, I'm not sure either since they are murderers, but that's what one of them says. I don't know who says it, but they say prison is better than dying.
So we cut to Bubba's house. Bubba's mom. She's sitting by the fire knitting, Karen. Is that what she's doing, Karen? Knitting?
Or it looked like she was darning socks or something.
Okay. And she hears a door banging in the wind.
Yeah, she hears a noise and it's
again with the wind. So she gets up, goes to the kitchen and shuts the screen door. And while she's in there, she puts some water on the stove, Karen. She's going to make some tea. Apparently.
Yes, and it's a gas stove and she has to light it.
She gets back to her chair to do her, it might be needlepoint.
Maybe. I thought it was hemming or something.
But she
Like
gets back to her
repairing
rocking
clothes.
chair. Whatever.
Yeah.
She gets back to her rocking chair, sits back down, and Otis grabs her from behind and puts his hand over her mouth, Karen. He tells her he wants her to stop and that they're even. Again, he thinks it's her still.
Right.
He takes his hand from her mouth and she gone. So he begins to run to get out of the house. But just as he reaches the back door, Karen, the tea kettle starts whistling.
Yeah, it startles him.
It's a startle scare, Karen. He walks over and takes the
But it gives him an idea. Yes.
It does. Yeah. There's a ding.
A light bulb above his head.
So he takes the kettle off the fire, turns off the gas, but then turns it back on.
Without lighting it.
Yeah. So there's just gas coming out of the stove. And we keep cutting from the stove to the fireplace, to the stove, to the fireplace.
Yes, I have the montage.
To the fireplace, to the stove, to the fireplace.
Until
the house explodes.
Yes.
But I think that would take like a long fucking time, Karen. I'm just going to say that. But whatever.
If you only turned one burner on, yes.
I don't think it would ever explode.
I don't think
one
so
burner.
Either. No. I thought he was going to drag her over and put her head in the oven or something. Like she couldn't go on with her son not being around, something like that. But they got a nice explosion out of it.
Yeah. It blew
for
up.
the movie, I mean.
It blew up. It blew up real good. Next, we see Mary Lee out collecting flowers, and she sees the fireman and Sam investigating the fire because, the house is gone. It's all blowed up. Next, we see her singing while she rocks a little baby doll. And I wrote it's fucking creepy.
She sees the house and the DA is with the fire inspector. And the fire inspector says it looks accidental. Old people tend to let their equipment get run down. And the DA is like, just go over it again. They just want one shred of evidence. He has suspicions, but he can't prove anything. And then Marilee is singing the flower song again.
Next, we have another montage of the men, Karen.
Yep, working. They're going about their days.
The ones that are left. And it's nighttime, Karen. And we see Philby doing paperwork at the farm. Again, the pigs are squealing and going crazy. Philby goes out to investigate. There's noises, but it's just a chain banging up against the grain silo. And so he secures it. And, he's relieved. And then
he's carrying a club or something. I don't know what he picked up.
It's an axe handle.
That's what it is. Yes, you're right. I couldn't place it, but now that you say that, that's what it is.
And he begins to walk back to the house, but looks like someone's in there, and they turn out the light. And he's like, oh, hell no. He gets in his car, but it won't start, Karen.
Then he freaks out,
yeah,
which
maybe
you would.
Maybe he should get out and
run
get the distributor cap or something.
Oh, that's true, right? From Leprechaun.
Leprechaun, yeah. But he begins taking his nitroglycerin pills, and there's footsteps, and he runs and locks himself into the grain silo.
Which might seem like a good idea.
More footsteps, Karen, walking past the grain silo.
Yeah, when he hears it, they kind of walk away from him, so he relaxes a little bit.
Yeah, he thinks they're gone, and he tries to open up the silo door to get out. Not so much.
Nope, won't open.
He's stuck. Then the conveyor belts turn on, Karen, and the silo begins to fill with grain.
So I've seen this in more than one movie. You can't stand on grain, as it fills. You couldn't, because I've seen people, like it was in another movie I saw.
I could, Karen.
Someone jumped
somebody
jumped into the silo not knowing there was grain and went down into it, and you basically drown. But wouldn't it stop you? Couldn't you, as it fills, step up on it?
Yes, it's all about you can jump into a grain of silo and, lay down, and you're gonna fall in. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, but if you went feet first.
But if you were wearing stiletto heels, Karen, and went in feet first.
I'm not going to ask how
You're a
you know
goner.
that.
I'm just
Saying.
'Cause that's,
people talk
you
to hear
know,
things. I get it.
it's physics, Karen, right?
I get it.
It's physics.
No, it just seemed like it was coming down. And I just thought, well,
It's like when you go on a ice pond, and if you spread yourself out.
I know. I do know that.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, you know.
Or quicksand. I got it.
Yeah.
I just thought it was strange that he couldn't. I mean, but then at the top, he would just be smushed because there's no top. Like he couldn't get out at the top.
Well, it stopped, but it stopped.
It stopped when it was
He can't
over
get
his
out.
head.
Like the door's covered. He can't get out regardless. But I did write it's a pretty good shot of like being buried alive.
Yeah, it's creepy. That's terrible.
The camera like looking up, and it's
and you see the grain coming down.
Yeah. And he gone. Next, we cut to Otis at the garage, and Otis tells Skeeter about Philby, and Otis tries to convince Skeeter that Bubba is alive. Later,
they argue because Skeeter doesn't think that he is alive, and Otis says he can prove it.
Later that night at the cemetery, Karen, they begin digging up Bubba's grave. Then once they get down to the casket, Otis gives Skeeter a crowbar to pry open the casket. And apparently Bubba's body's in there because Skeeter freaks the fuck out.
He does. He does a good job of a freak out.
And then Otis thinks, well, it must be Mary Lee. The whole time, Otis is always thinking, who's next? Who is it? Who is it? Who is it? Because everyone keeps dying. Who's left? Who could it be? I'm surprised he's not thinking it's Sam still at this point, but whatever. But Otis tells Skeeter, it must be Mary Lee. You know what we have to do? And Skeeter don't want no part of it, Karen.
No, he really starts to freak out.
Yeah.
And says he's going to go to the police.
Yeah. And then Otis tells Skeeter, okay, that's fine. That's fine. We'll go to the police if that's what you want. But first they have to cover Bubba's body back up. So he convinces Skeeter to get that back down there in the grave and close the casket and latch it or lock it, whatever the hell they do. And while Skeeter is down there, Otis hits him over the head with a shovel.
Otis is
so
psychopath, man. He buries him with Bubba, basically.
Yes. And Skeeter's hat sticks to the shovel as Otis pulls it up.
Oh, okay. I didn't notice that.
Yes, the red hat with the polka dots, white polka dots, is stuck to the shovel as he pulls it back up. I thought that was funny. I laughed. Then Otis begins filling the grave. How long do you think it takes to dig up a grave and fill it in, Karen?
I don't know. By yourself? A long time.
Well, Skeeter helped him dig it up, but he's filling it on his own. It's probably easier to fill it back up.
I would imagine, yes.
You could probably push it over.
Yeah, you can kick it in there. I would guess.
All right. Next, we see Otis driving his mail truck, drinking whiskey, I believe.
Yeah, he leaves the cemetery, drinking and driving.
And he's on a pretty curvy road. Although I wrote he doesn't seem to be steering too hard.
And it looks like his headlights are like a flashlight.
Well, what's a 1954 Jeep mail truck or some shit, Karen? Don't usually drive those at night on a curvy road. I'm just saying. But we see Mary Lee in the road, and he stops.
In the middle of the road, yes.
Yep. And she runs into the woods. Again, she's wearing her house coat and slippers, Karen.
Yeah, it's very flowy. So when she runs, it's almost dreamlike. I thought it's a nice effect.
She runs into the woods, and Otis follows her in his mail truck.
Yes. Yeah, right into the woods with the mail truck.
Oh my God. I mean, it's a Jeep, but it's not like a Jeep. You know what I mean?
No, it's not. It doesn't get very far.
So he ends up crashing into a tree. He sees Mary Lee, and he gets out of the truck and chases after her. And I wrote crows. Anytime there's crows calling, that's not good news.
No, it's not good news.
And we see an International Harvester Combine, Karen. That's what I wrote.
I said, there's a piece of farm equipment.
And Mary Lee hides in the bucket, but Otis finds her. Otis tells Mary Lee, it was her all the time.
It was you. It was you.
Yeah,
and she screams for Bubba.
Does she?
Yeah.
And just then the truck lights come on of the International Harvester Combine, Karen.
Please don't ask me how much one of those costs.
They're expensive. And the engine starts.
And Mary Lee runs.
Yep. And she runs away. And the combine chases Otis.
Well, they do show no one in the driver's seat.
Right. Yeah. It shifts into gear. No one's there.
And it starts moving forward. And
this
Otis
is the only time
runs.
they've done that. Anytime anything happens. Right.
Exactly. Yeah. And Otis runs straight in front of it.
Yeah.
Never runs to the left or right. Just keeps running
zigzag.
straight.
You want to zigzag.
I mean, you gotta be like a rabbit, go in all directions. Just a tip.
I'll remember that, Karen.
You already know that.
But I wrote, for some reason, there are pumpkins in the cornfield.
I saw that too. It was a nice scene, but it didn't make much sense.
Yeah, it was cool, but it doesn't make sense.
But it looked good.
It did look good. Otis runs from the truck and he runs right into a scarecrow, Karen.
Holding
a pitchfork.
And you hear the squish.
And he's impaled.
Yes.
And he backs up. We see a little blood on the pitchfork and then on his gut. And he gone.
He falls to his knees, points at the scarecrow, and keels over.
Truck engine stops and the lights turn out. And then we hear crows again.
Mm-hmm. And footsteps towards Mary Lee.
Yes. Next we see Mary Lee in the cornfield with the pumpkins and their footsteps. And we see the scarecrow. He turns to Mary Lee and hands her a daisy.
Yes. In the beginning, he crushed the flower and she scolded him. And then he learned to pick the
Bubba
flower.
Did.
Yes. And Bubba learns to pick it properly. And so this time he gives her a properly picked daisy.
He did that too.
Yes. Well, he learned. Yes. But
But Mary Lee says, tomorrow I'll teach you a new game. It's called the chasing game. It will be fun. Is that what she says?
Something like that.
The chasing game?
Yes.
Okay. That's the only thing I wasn't sure of.
Because didn't he just play the chasing game?
I think so. And we have credits. The end, Karen.
So do you think she was behind the murders?
I don't think it can be Mary Lee. It's got to be Bubba.
You don't think she came up with the ideas? He's not smart enough. Did he instantly get a higher IQ when he went into the veil?
Yeah, when you put it that way, maybe she guided him.
Because she's apparently speaking with him.
Yes.
Singing songs, calling to him.
That makes sense that she told him what to do.
I thought that was the twist, that she was really the evil little, not
instigator.
Evil, yes, getting them back for what they did. And
I would agree with that.
Then I'm saying sequel, because she could control the scarecrow. Somebody bullies her in high school. Oops, they're dead. I don't know. That's what it seemed like the end meant to me.
Maybe. I can see that.
Because she's going to teach him a game. I don't know.
The chasing game.
Which I think they already did.
So I would love to know Otis's backstory.
What do you mean?
I want to know his history. What's his deal? He's probably former military.
Otis is he's an angry guy. Probably because he's fighting his pedophilia all the time, apparently.
Well, only Mama says that, but so you don't know for
I don't
sure.
know.
Yeah, I don't know. I would like to know his backstory.
Yeah, he's probably the most interesting character, I would say.
Yeah.
He's the only one that's fleshed out a little bit with, well, not really fleshed out. He's pretty one-note anger, but still, he's devious. He's a dick.
But why is he living in a boarding house?
Yeah, that's true too.
When he's a mail carrier, they make pretty good money.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah, they do. He's probably former military. He's probably got a pension.
Don't you only get that if you stay in long enough?
Well, he's pretty old. I mean, you don't know how long he's been carrying mail or when he got out of the military, but he seems former military. Most postal workers are former military or something like that because you get extra points on the exam if you are. Yeah, I was very curious about his backstory.
Well, maybe it's in the
What's
reimagining.
His deal? What's his major malfunction, Karen?
What made him like that?
Yeah. He obviously wants to be, in charge. This is official business.
It's true. And he does have a deep-seated hatred for Bubba for some unknown reason.
Because he's a less than,
I guess. But
more or
what difference?
less.
But he gets to be close to Mary Lee, I guess, and no one cares.
Maybe. Could be. I don't know. I didn't really see any of that stuff except from what Mom said.
Well, I agree, but I don't think you can put that in a
But
TV
it did
movie.
add a whole other thing like, whoa.
Right. But you're not going to put that in a TV movie in 1981.
All right, Karen, anything you were pleasantly surprised by or really enjoyed in this 1981 made-for-TV film?
I thought Otis was really good because I disliked him from the moment I saw him and continued to dislike him through the entire film, never once feeling any empathy for him at all.
I think it was his hair.
I just think I don't know. He was really good. I thought the Scarecrow was creepy. The costume for the Scarecrow was creepy.
Yeah, it's a good one.
I think there was some really good acting in it, and I would think there was some not so good acting in it.
Okay. You said you recognized a lot of these people, right?
Yeah. I don't know where I know Harless from, but I recognize him.
I do.
I know I recognize Otis. I recognized Bubba.
Pretty sure I recognize Harless from the Rockford Files. He had a reoccurring character on the Rockford Files.
No.
He usually played like when the Rockford Files, he was like a CIA guy. He usually played like a senator or a CIA or a government official kind of thing.
I get him confused. He looks a lot like the guy from Law and Order, the older guy.
I know who you're talking about.
What's
the main
his name?
dude. I don't know. I don't watch it, but I know who you're talking about.
No, he's one of the cops. Jerry something. Jerry Orbach. They look similar to me.
They do. Yeah, so I looked him up, and he's in movies I've seen before, but as soon as I saw the Rockford Files and it was a reoccurring thing, I'm like, well, that's obviously where I know him from.
Well, they're definitely character actors, but they're...
I mean, he was on Hill Street Blues, and he was in V and Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman. He played Perry White. That might be where I know him from, actually. But I'm sure I recognize him from all these things, but he worked a lot as a character actor. Yeah, as soon as I saw him, I recognized him. Like, I know that guy from somewhere, but I couldn't place it. And Larry Drake, of course, I recognized from L.A. Law. I didn't really watch it, but I knew of it. I recognized Charles Durning from the Muppet movie, Karen. And even Skeeter, he was in stuff too. You know, lots of stuff. Lots of stuff.
Yeah, I didn't like
Mostly
him.
TV, but
that's what I was disappointed in. I just
Fantasy Island, Karen.
I just thought he was
Magnum
ridiculous.
PI.
He must have I bet he's played the same character in every single one.
Maybe.
The doofus.
But he's got lots of credits, so he did well.
I thought he was the weakest out of the four in the acting.
Well, he was more the...
But they didn't need him to freak out.
He was more the Bubba of the other side, right?
Yeah. What did you like about it?
I like the Scarecrow.
Yeah, it was creepy. If I saw that in my field, I would be flipping out. Even if I didn't shoot somebody in it and it showed up in my field. It was a creepy looking scarecrow. Although all scarecrows are a little creepy.
Scarecrows are awesome, Karen.
Yeah, you think so because they're creepy.
I like this one. But like I said, this image of this scarecrow kind of like stick with me, but I'm not sure. I think I said last week I talked about Dr. Sin, the Disney movie Dr. Sin. There's a scarecrow in that, a guy that it's like a kind of vigilante guy that dresses as a scarecrow. And so I kind of think in my memory they're confused, but I like this one.
You don't see it that much.
No.
Really. You only really see it when they shoot him and at the very end. Really.
Oh, and every time it pops up in someone's yard.
Yeah, but it's more long distance
For a
shots.
minute.
Yeah, but you don't see the Scarecrow walking around
No.
performing all these gory things. It's unknown. It's invisible. Well, not invisible. You don't know exactly who's doing it until
Yeah,
the
you
end.
don't know. I thought it was Sam for sure. You know? Who'd you think it was, Karen?
The Scarecrow.
So you just jumped right into the.
It's called Dark Knight of the Scarecrow. I made that major
It
leap.
could have been anybody dressed as a scarecrow, though. Could have been Sam. Could have been Emily.
But Mara Lee talks to him the whole time. Every time she's singing the flower song, there was like an indent in the grass next to her, and
What?
yeah, you didn't see like.
No, I did not see that. There were some good shots. I like the uplighting when Harless goes up to the hayloft.
Yeah, there was a lot of foreshadowing, but was a little
one of those-
obvious.
It's one of those films that there's no gore or blood in it really. There's only 2 scenes with blood in them, right? When they shoot Bubba,
Mhm.
and then when Otis is impaled, and that's it.
True, but it's still
Everything
creepy.
else is left to suggestion and your imagination. Someone fell into the wood chipper, but they don't show it. They don't even show like blood splattering on.
No, they don't.
I was waiting for that, the blood to splatter on
At
the
least
light
onto a
fixture.
board or something. Yeah, like you would see something like where they take a paintbrush and just
Yes,
swap.
exactly.
Yeah.
But they didn't even do that.
Nope.
But that doesn't take anything away from it, I don't think.
No, and you have to remember it was a TV movie.
Yes, it was, Karen.
Were you disappointed in
1981.
anything? The lack of blood stains.
No. The only thing I can think of is Otis moving from suspect to suspect when the prime suspect was there the whole time, Sam. His initial suspect he thinks is doing this is Sam.
And he never discounts him.
But then he goes to the mother, then he goes to Mary Lee, and
Sam's like the ringer, just to make you think it could be him.
yeah,
I think.
maybe.
Because you're right. He starts with him, but he doesn't disqualify him in any way. He just moves on.
He just moves on. Yeah. And that's it. I liked how every time you heard the crows, you knew something was happening. The
pumpkins in the cornfield
crows
was a
in
little
the
disappointing.
wind. Yeah.
But it looked good because I noticed it right away. But then I thought, well, but it is aesthetically pleasing to see the corn stalks and the pumpkins there.
It's a good Halloween movie, I would say.
Definitely. Oh, I did have one other fact, but I never asked you.
What?
When do you think the first Scarecrow was made, created?
I got to think that's going way, way back, Karen.
It is. According to what I found.
BC.
Yes. 2500 BC, Greek farmers carved wooden scarecrows in the image of Priapus, the son of Dionysus and Aphrodite, creating a scarecrow that was supposedly ugly enough to scare birds away from their vineyards, ensuring a good harvest. The Egyptians also used them in the wheat fields along the Nile River to keep the quails away.
The only other thing I think of that might be disappointed is the house blown up, because that wouldn't happen.
No,
But
I agree.
I get it. All right, Karen, what kind of cocktail rating we giving this film? How many cocktails would it take you to get through it?
I don't know. It's a 3.
Okay.
I think it's a solid 3. It might be a 2 3/4. I mean, it's not as good as some of the movies we've given 2s, so we can't. But it's better.
I think it's a 3.
But it's better than some of the movies we've given 3s to, I think.
Yeah, I agree. It's 3. I couldn't give it a 2.
No,
I wanted to, but I couldn't.
no, there's tough competition in the 2s.
All right. What do you think of our Scarecrow cocktail, Karen?
It's really good. I like the rim because you get the smell of the chocolate the whole time you're drinking it, which I think really adds to it. Every time you bring it close, you get a whiff of chocolate.
Yeah, so you got chocolate, orange, and butterscotch is the initial.
Butterscotch is pretty strong in it. which
Yeah.
I'm not complaining.
Yeah. No, I thought it was great.
It's really good.
If I was having a Halloween party, I would make a whole punch bowl of that shit.
Yep. And then just drop the little candy corn in as you fill up the glass.
It was
It would be in
delicious.
the fixed punch.
I think that rimming with the glass with the cocoa does make a huge difference.
I agree. The smell is really nice.
All right, Karen, anything we learned today?
That you really like this drink.
I do. I really like this drink.
What did we learn? Well, we just learned about scarecrows. Learned about scent dogs, scent hounds,
Yes.
windmills.
Yeah.
That might be about it.
Scarecrows are awesome.
And this drink is really good.
All right, Karen. I believe next week is your choice. Is it? Is it not?
It is.
All right. Let me make a note. Episode 57 of the Scary Spirit podcast. Right before Peter Cushing, Christopher Lee, and Vincent Price's birthdays. What film are we going to watch?
We're going to watch the 1969 movie, The Oblong Box,
Wow.
which you can only find on YouTube currently.
I've not heard of that.
I hadn't either, but it stars Vincent Price and Christopher Lee.
Okay. First film for them both to star in. Loosely based on the short story The Oblong Box from 1844. Includes themes from Poe shit, apparently. Do we have a cocktail?
We do. Apparently, Vincent Price had cookbooks and
As you do.
so, but I found Vincent Price's New Fashioned Cocktail. It's called New Fashioned. It's
as opposed to the old fashioned.
Yes.
Okay.
So takes a lump of sugar dissolved with 3 dashes of bitters and a splash of club soda, 2 rocks, a twist, a cherry, and 1.5 ounces of light Canadian whiskey.
Ooh, I have Canadian whiskey.
I don't know what light Canadian whiskey is.
I don't either, but I have Canadian whiskey. Crown
Apparently
Royal
he-
is Canadian whiskey. So I
He
have that.
was the spokesperson for the bitters.
I have sugar cubes too. So I can dissolve those and
I don't think I have sugar cubes, but I think you can use a teaspoon of sugar.
okay.
It sounds all right, you know. I was trying to find his favorite cocktail, and there were a lot of them. I couldn't find something that was specific to him, but this is one of his recipes, and I saw it multiple places. So,
All right, Karen, anyone you need to thank this episode?
I need to thank everyone who listens. We really appreciate you spending time with us. What about you? Who are you going to
Yes.
thank, Greg?
Take our survey. If you listen, take our survey.
Oh, yes, I forgot. We have a survey out there. Let us know who you are. Not your name or anything.
Karen, someone did leave a comment on their survey.
Uh-oh.
So we had someone comment on the survey. They said, "Love the engagement between the hosts!" Exclamation point. Genuine and real! Exclamation point.
Wow. Was it you?
No, it was not me, Karen.
Oh, yeah, you wouldn't be that nice. You wouldn't say
No, I would
that.
not. Definitely would not. No. So whoever left that comment, thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. You're much nicer than Greg.
You almost made me spit my drink out, Karen.
I thought it was gone. You were licking the glass.
Well, I have another drink, Karen.
Oh, of course.
I have backups.
Of course you do.
Yeah, but I didn't see this until the other day. That was nice. Yes, thank you.
Well, yes, I think that's really nice. I wish I'd have known how to thank that person.
Well, we don't know who they are because it's
true.
anonymous.
It is anonymous, but it helps us out. It helps. So now we know that we are delightful, just trying to make the podcast better, trying to give the people what they want.
Yes. All right. Well, I need to thank Verse 13, Karen, once again. All the music in the Scary Spirits podcast is provided by Verse 13.
Music definitely makes the podcast better.
Anything else, Karen?
Please drink responsibly.
Yes.
Thanks for listening to the Scary Spirits podcast, where the movies might be iffy, but the drinks are always solid. We would love to hear from you. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Scary Spirits Podcast, or go to our website, scaryspirits.com. And if you want the direct line, email us at info@scaryspirits.com. If you really want to help us out, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. And remember, always drink responsibly. See you next week.